it's Crystal here, and I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you guys. This is 2 weeks later after trying the Innisfree No Sebum Blur Primer. And I did record an intro to this video, but I have no idea what happened to it. It's missing. So I'm gonna do it right now after 2 weeks of trying on this primer. Don't worry, I still have the clips of my first impression. But anyways, I'll go ahead and just do a background information real quick of the Innisfree No Sebum Blur Primer. I did mention about Innisfree and a little bit about this primer in my previous video, so I'll go ahead and put it somewhere over here on the screen and link it. So if you want to know more about it, go ahead and click on it. But just to recap, Innisfree is a organic, natural, Korean cosmetic / skincare company, and they use all of their ingredients from Jeju Island, which is an island in Korea, and they use only the most natural and organic ingredients. So if you haven't already heard of that company, in my last video I did mention I do highly recommend their products. Yes, try out their products if you can. Innisfree will not let you down. I'm not going to go too much into detail about the background of Innisfree. I mean, you could just check it out in my previous video. But a little about this primer is that this primer, I got it from a website called BeautyNet Korea, which is I also mentioned in my previous video as well. So go ahead and check that out as well. I bought this primer for $10.99, and I also did a little swatching of it in the previous video as well. So go ahead and just go in the previous video and look at that, and then come back to this, I guess. I don't know. If you want to, you don't have to. But I'm gonna go ahead and jump into my demonstration of how to use this primer as well as my first impression. And here I am with my extremely naked and bare face. I already applied toner as well as essence and sunscreen on my face, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go in with the Innisfree No Sebum Blur Primer. Basically, I do like to work in small sections of my face. I take about a pea size of the primer, and I basically would section it forehead, cheek, nose area, and my chin. So the primer is amazing. It has reduced the shine on my face greatly, and I can actually tell it's blurred out some of my imperfections already. So that's a pretty good sign. This primer is starting to look promising, but of course I don't know yet until I actually apply the actual foundation. And I am back from applying warrior paint all over my face. And in case you're wondering what kind of foundation I do use, I use the Tarte Amazonian Clay Full Coverage Foundation with an SPF of 15. And the color I use is light neutral, so it's this right here. And if I remember correctly, I believe this foundation is either about $32 or $34. Or $36 US dollars. I don't remember, but I am going to include the price in this description right here. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about this foundation really quickly in case there are those in the market for a new foundation. This is my holy grail of foundations. I have used multiple foundations and BB creams, but I always go back to this one right here. I've used this for about a year now, and I have not strayed away from it since. This foundation is a little thicker than other foundations that I've tried, and believe me, I've tried a lot of foundations in liquid form and in powder form. But this foundation is a lot thicker than other foundations that I have tried. The reason is because there is Amazonian clay actually embedded in its ingredients. That's why it's a little thicker. It's for nourishing and healing your skin in the process while you're wearing it. Now, this foundation, because it's so thick, I found it easier to spread and blend out the foundation with these tools right here, my fingers. These are the best babies you will have around, and it is free. Just make sure your hands are cleaned. Now, in terms of using my normal makeup routine with the Innisfree No Sebum Blur Primer, I can honestly tell you guys that it is a little harder to spread my Tarte foundation along with the primer compared to the primer that I normally use. The primer that I normally use is the Smashbox Photo Finish Foundation Primer, and I have the oil-free one. This one actually is a lot thicker than the Innisfree one, and it's gel-like. So let me just so it's a lot thicker, but it does glide around your skin much quicker and easier. I mean, The Innisfree one also is easy to spread around your face, but in terms of applying my foundation, I find it a lot easier to spread my foundation on the Smashbox's primer. I also want to note that when I applied my foundation with the Innisfree primer, it actually makes my face or my skin look powdery compared to the Smashbox primer. With the Smashbox primer, I found that applying the foundation made it look more natural and closer to my skin texture compared to the Innisfree one. Right now, in terms of looks and usage, I find it easier to use my Smashbox primer. But if you have very oily skin like I do, especially in my T-zone, then the Innisfree so far has been doing a good job at maintaining my oil. As you can see, not much oil on my face. The reason why it's shiny is because of the lighting. It has nothing to do with my oils. With the Smashbox primer, within 30 minutes of applying my makeup, I can already start to see shine along my nose and on my cheeks. So I actually really like Innisfree's control on my oil so far. I'll also be taking you along with me and checking in on my makeup every now and then throughout the day so you can see how the primer is working on my face. I'll let you guys know that I did apply this primer about 12:30 today, and it is now currently around 1:40. At the end of the day, I'll let you guys know how I really feel about this primer, and of course I will be using this product for 2 weeks so that I have a better understanding about this primer, so I won't be neglecting that. Alright, I'm about to go head out to do some errands for my mom, so let's go do that. And let's check what time it is actually. So it is 2:53 and I did apply the makeup or the primer about 2 hours ago. So far, so good. Nothing's shining out. Nothing's running. So far, so good. Okay, so we actually finished the errand and then we went to go shopping for cosmetics. We have all this stuff. Me and my sister bought so much stuff. It's so nice. But it is now currently 6:39 and I haven't noticed that much shiny or oil production in my skin. My nose just has a little bit, just a little bit, but it's not much and it's not that noticeable compared to my other primer, the Smashbox primer. So far, the sebum portion of the Innisfree is doing a great job. But we're still gonna, keep up with the rest of today to see how it's going. But so far, I'm pretty much liking how much it's not making my skin oily at all. Yep, we're just gonna stop by Daiso now. Hey guys, I'm back with my last and final checkup on my Innisfree No Sebum Blur Primer. So it is currently 10:30 and once again I did apply this primer on at 12:30 in the afternoon, but I did apply it earlier so I can tell you guys that so far just minimal shine right here. There's not a lot of shine in my face, not a lot of oil. So this is a great primer for sebum control and oil control. Also, no patching whatsoever on my foundation. So that's a bonus for me. And because my foundation usually patches throughout the day. And there are also no cracks in my foundation either, because I normally get cracks right here on my laugh lines even with the Smashbox Photo Finish primer. I was a little hesitant with this product because it was kind of powdery, like it gave my skin a powdery finish when I used it, but right now I guess it just takes time for it to settle in because it doesn't look powdery anymore. So far for my first impression, big ol' thumbs up. And I'm gonna go ahead and continue trying out this product for 2 weeks and then I'll get back to you guys on that. Hey guys, I'm back with my 2-week follow-up of the Innisfree's No Sebum Blur Primer. Sorry, such a mouthful. Going into the actual Tarte foundation with this primer combo, I did use a little more product than I normally would and basically applied it on my face because I figured maybe I didn't use enough, so it was a little harder to spread around. Worked perfectly, worked like a charm. In terms of it having a powdery finish, yes, it does have a powdery finish, but you know what? I got used to it after 2 weeks of using it because throughout the day, I would rather have that powdery finish in the beginning because my face, once the primer started to set in, my face looked very natural. The foundation, looked flawless, it looked perfect. So I have no complaints about that powdery finish. I still wish that it does glide around easier with this foundation, because with Smashbox primer, I'm still able to apply the foundation a lot quicker and a lot easier than I normally would with the Innisfree primer. So I do wish that it's a little easier to apply with, but you know what? I am extremely happy with the fact that the Innisfree primer is able to control this very oily face. So that part outweighs how much I really want it to be easier to apply, because I think oil control is the most important thing to me. On the topic of controlling my oil, yes, throughout the day my face still produces oil. It accumulates, yes, because I don't do any touch-ups or anything like that, and I wear makeup for about 8 to 9 hours a day, which is really bad. But all the primers I have ever tried in the past, Benefit, what else? Some primers that I got from Target, I don't know the names of, there are a couple of them. They didn't work that well with me because my nose accumulates the most oil out of my whole face. With all those primers that I have tried, even if it says matte finish and oil control, I still produce a lot of oil. And not only do I produce a lot of oil, the foundation on my nose area starts to separate and patch up, and it's very noticeable with those primers. And it also, I noticed, is that the foundation starts to push around the rims of my nose here. Yeah, here. And that was kind of like a big deal for me, because throughout the day I feel like when I talk to people, they're staring at my nose area because it's very noticeable. But with the Innisfree primer, this primer was able to actually keep my foundation together. There is a little bit of patching and blotchiness, but it's not that noticeable. I had to actually stare very close to the mirror to notice it. So that's a really big bonus and A+ for me. This primer also has a better smell than my Smashbox primer. It smells like mint, but it's like an herbal kind of minty smell. It's not very overpowering, it's very subtle. So it's a lot better than smelling like plastic, because my Smashbox primer definitely smells like plastic. So in the first impression portion of this video, I was a little hesitant with this primer because of the two things I noticed. It was hard to apply my foundation, and I didn't like the powdery finish. But you know what? After trying it for 2 weeks, I do really like this primer. It's perfect for hot days, for controlling, you know, my oily skin, because with this primer, I think about 3, 4, 5 hours, around that mark, my face starts to get oily. And trust me, my face is very oily. With the Smashbox primer, my face got oily after an hour of wearing it. So this does an amazing job at controlling my oils. Moving on to the blurring effect of this primer, I don't really see that much of a difference between this one. I mean, both of these primers smooth out fine lines of my face before applying the foundation, and then it gives my foundation a more even look to it. So I think these are the equivalents, but I would definitely buy this primer again, especially for the oil control. So I might switch over this primer once I finish using the Smashbox primer. I'm definitely going to continue to purchase this primer. I really do like this primer. So if you have really oily skin, or if you're looking for a primer solely for the hot seasons, then I would definitely invest in the Innisfree No Sebum Blur Primer. So that is my first week and versus 2 week impression of the Innisfree No Sebum Blur Primer. If there's anything that I left out in this video, any questions you have about the primer, please feel free to ask me in the description box below. If there's something that you don't like about the way I do my videos, please let me know. I am always striving to get better at this. And if you do like the way I do my videos, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Bye guys, thanks for watching.